Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
So today I would like to talk about Justin Trudeau and what's happening between India and Canada. And my first question would be, he just said, I think in the morning today, that he believes in the One India policy. So if that is the case, then who is he trying to fool with all this Khalistan drama?
Well, sir, after his deposition before the committee on foreign interference in Canadian politics and elections, where he admitted that Canada did not have any evidence as to India's or Indian government's involvement in killing of 𝗍𝗏, who is considered, he's a Canadian citizen who was killed in June last year, and who is a wanted Khalistani separatist and extremist by India. He says we only had what is called credible or evidentiary intelligence. Now, intelligence and evidence are two different things. Intelligence is based on various sources, so that intelligence may appear credible at a given point of time. But subsequently, you need evidence to back up that intelligence. Sir, obviously, we can see, at least India has seen through this game, that this is largely driven by the politics in Canada, where Justin Trudeau's popularity has been going down. Two crucial provincial elections are due in Ontario as well as in British Columbia. That is in the region around Toronto and the region around Vancouver. Now, where Sikhs are sizable voters, concentrated voters in this metropolitan area. So, though overall Sikhs only make up for 2% of Canada's population, but in these two regions, they are having provincial elections this coming November, December. It's only in October next year you have elections to Canadian Parliament. Now, obviously, with this kind of his popularity rate going down, and Canadian economy is not at all doing well. So there is an economic issue at home. His voters are unhappy. So this is the time, and he's also facing the charge that there has been Chinese interference in Canadian elections to his benefit, to his party's benefit. At this time, he has sought to divert it by saying, raking up this 𝗍𝗏 killing. Of course, he did it last September with G20 summit, soon after the summit. And then there were meetings between NSAs and saying that, look, we have given all the evidence. And when in Laos, around October 14-15, when he met the Prime Minister Modi, he also tried to say something, though it was only it's a courtesy just when they were passing by. It was not a sit-down meeting or poolside meeting. So what we can see is that there is a lot of politics. Because India has said, look, you have not responded to our requests for 26 extraditions of people who have taken refuge in Canada, who are involved in terrorism and also in gangsterism, extortion, drug trafficking. Sir, they were trying to link this gangster called 𝗏𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗁 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗁 gang members who are in Canada, with the killing of 𝗍𝗏, that those people were probably hired by Indian agents to bump off 𝗍𝗏. The fact is, we have placed requests for 26 extraditions, including some suspected members of like 𝗘𝗽𝗵𝗿𝗏. There are 2-3 people who are supposed to be part of the so-called 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗁 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗁 gang. Sir, one thing is coming clear, the timing is very clear. India has been asking for evidence. That evidence, they have been saying, look, you try to find out. You tell us what you know. Then, sir, to go the matter public, and you are naming the diplomats. Even if there was an undercover operation, let us assume there was a 007 kind of James Bond kind of operation. Do you think the diplomats are involved in such operation? Diplomats are never involved. America has been doing this extra transnational operations to counter inimical personnel or agents or whatever, which America has been doing it, Israel has been doing it. When America bumped off Osama bin Laden, did Canada raise any protest? Did Canada say anything? Sir, this whole thing smacks of double standard. And one presumes this is also a part of a larger design in Western governments are involved in trying to pressurize Prime Minister Modi. Obviously, our proximity to Russia, our ability to procure Russian oil at a competitive rates, This is all upsetting the Western government because they are caught in a Ukraine war. Now they want to end the war. They don't know how to end the war. Now there are other problems, and everybody was saying this whole thing has been rigged up to prevent Prime Minister Modi from going to BRICS summit in Russia, which is being hosted by President Putin. Today, there is an official announcement. Prime Minister will be going to Russia. Prime Minister Modi will be attending this BRICS summit in Russia. Prime Minister Modi is not a person who will get intimidated by such things. And also, sir, there are some countermeasures. India is reviewing the decision to purchase some high-value military equipment from Canada, because that big deal to get some vehicles, armored vehicles for our army, which involves it's a multi-billion-dollar contract. So India is going to decided to put it on hold. But one thing I think Justin Trudeau must understand, sir, elections are won or lost on their own. But to put a relationship with a country like India in jeopardy for the sake of domestic politics is only shows, I would say, not just pettiness, but also some plain stupidity. Conclude by initial observations. Sir, when you are naming six diplomats, saying that withdraw immunity from them because they are persons of interest, which means what? We want to arrest them and question them. Now they enjoy diplomatic immunity. Now tell me, sir, which government will withdraw immunity for their immunity cover for their diplomats? Will America do it? Will Canada do it? This is not new, sir. This Canada harboring or giving space to these Khalistani elements who failed in Punjab. Today, people of Punjab do not want anything of it. These people are sitting in Canada. They use this the violence that was leashed by Khalistani extremists in Punjab to claim political sanctuary in Canada. And now 2-3 generations have lived there. They are doing well, and largely many Sikhs are not interested. Canadian Sikhs are not interested in this. There are a handful of them who are controlling Gurdwaras, who are seizing Gurdwaras, rather, who are seizing, like Pannu and all, they control Gurdwaras. And their gangs are into all kinds of things. There are our government information, some of them are into gun running, into drug trafficking, all kinds of extortion racket. And sitting in Canada, they are also trying to operate in Punjab.
Sir, but I have a very another specific question here. So, should we call Justin Trudeau a terror sympathizer?
Well, sir, there has been call, you would have seen in the social media that there has been a clamor, I would say, to declare Canada as a country harboring terrorists, like Pakistan does. In fact, there has been also suggestion that somewhere along Pakistan, deep state may be influencing politicians in Canada to go hard on India on this Khalistan issue, because since Pakistan is no longer able to whip up Khalistan or revive Khalistan issue in Punjab in India, the obvious place is Canada, and with Canada, you are by doing that you can embarrass India. Sir, today I think Justin Trudeau would have realized by now that of 1998, when India Prime Minister 𝗚𝗵𝗲𝗶𝗃 went in for Pokhran 2, then Canada had imposed sanctions because we had gone for a nuclear explosion, for a nuclear test. Now, lot of things have happened. Today, India cannot be browbeaten like that. Now, a comparison is made with the case of Indian agents who were allegedly involved in an attempt to kill Pannu in the US. Pannu apparently enjoys dual citizenship of both Canada and America. Now, in this case, the US government has named a particular a person who was supposed to be working for India's research and analysis wing, that is R&AW. These two are different because in the case of America, this Pannu attempt on Pannu's life, American agencies, American FBI has been sharing details with Indian counterparts. And he was, the one person has been named as, who has been named. He was arrested and is on bail in India. These are not comparable because Canada is trying to say, look, you are acting on what Americans want in the case of attempt on Pannu, but you are not responding to us in the case of Nijar. No, these are two different cases. But at the same time, I have a feeling that, sir, India has also realized the way Canada is taking it up, and where Justin Trudeau has spoken to his counterpart of UK, he has also kept the Americans in the loop, because US spokesperson have also been saying that India must cooperate. We want India to cooperate. there seems to be a pressure tactic. The timing of where this issue was taken up makes one believe that there is an attempt to pressurize India, because India has been pursuing an independent foreign policy, and whether it is dealing with President Putin or with Russia. In fact, on Ukraine issue, you would have seen Prime Minister Modi spoke to Putin. He also met 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗀, the Ukrainian president, for some kind of a formula to end the Ukraine war. But at the same time, there is a suspicion that there is some kind of an attempt to put pressure on Prime Minister Modi and India, and so that the line is not independent. They somehow toe the Western line. But then Prime Minister Modi is not a person who will allow himself to subject himself to this kind of pressures, because the whole thing, the whole objective is every country acts on its self-interest. The countries may claim moral principles, but what moral principles are? This kind of transnational aggression, what they are saying. This the America has been doing all along. Now Israel is doing it. Has Canada ever spoken out against America? Or UK, for that matter?
So another question here, which is 𝗏𝗵𝗀𝗃 wants sanctions against RSS. So what's the basis for that?
Sir, 𝗏𝗵𝗀𝗃, because of the clout he enjoys as a leader of the New Democratic Party, which was now providing support until recently to Justin Trudeau's party, because it is a minority government and supported by this New Democratic Party. Now, the whole idea is to show that, as a try to bring some equivalence between the Khalistani elements and Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh in India. Are these comparable? To show that if India is pressurizing for action on Khalistani extremists, then Canada should also take some action against RSS, as if RSS is a terrorist organization and RSS is indulging in terrorist violence. On the social media has been full of memes which are saying how these Sikh extremist organizations are making Justin Trudeau dance to their tune, because he is totally dependent on them for support, for majority. Sir, Canadian political party, and sir, the other thing they have noticed, I just saw a survey, the Canadian surveys have shown Justin Trudeau's support even among Sikhs has gone down. Among the various ethnic groups in Canada, among even Sikh voters, that is Canadian Sikh voters, it has gone down. So the whole thing seems to be very contrived, an orchestrated attempt to shore up support for Liberal Party and for Justin Trudeau before the two crucial provincial elections that I mentioned, both in Ontario as well as in British Columbia. But this is amazing, sir. This is amazing in the sense it baffles us. A prime minister like Justin Trudeau would risk relationship with an important country like India for the sake of winning an election. But but people also point out that in 1982, Khalistan was encouraged by Pakistan in Punjab, and violence has started. India wanted some of these Khalistani extremist leaders had murdered policemen in Punjab, and they had run away to Canada. Indira Gandhi had spoken to Pierre Trudeau, father of current Canadian Prime Minister, seeking extradition, and Canada refused. We also know when the 𝗖𝗁𝗃𝗃 bombing case, how Canada responded to this whole investigation. India was very unhappy in the way the investigation was carried out, and all the guilty were not brought to book.
And their own citizens actually died in the bombing.
Yes, sir. At the same time, and the explanation that they are giving, that what these Khalistan leaders are doing in Canada, it may be awful, but it is legal. Legal because what they are doing is part of a freedom of expression that is guaranteed in Canada. Today, Canada has also seen movement for separate Quebec. What if India were to encourage those Quebec separatists? They have been also demanded in India. Will Canada take it as an act of friendly nature by India? I don't think the Canadians will appreciate that. Sir, now to say, no, sir, when it is pointed out that all the people for whom we are speaking and acting, and these are all extremists, and these extremists are frustrated extremists whose own crimes, whose own involvement in gang wars, in drug trafficking all over the world should be should be, thoroughly examined by Canadians and even Americans. Once I remember what US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton once told Pakistani leaders, the military leaders, that if you are going to have snakes in your backyard, don't think they will only bite India. That means if you are going to nurture terrorists on your soil, don't think all those terrorists will be, after some time they'll turn to you. And that is what today Pakistan is facing. Pakistan is facing internal terrorism, because terrorism was used as an instrument of state policy in Pakistan. And if today Canada thinks all this Sikhism and extremism and all this Sikh extremism is only going to be limited to just irritating India and is not going to bother them, but then it's going to be a problem for Canadian law enforcement authorities' hand. But if parties are so helpless, if Justin Trudeau is also practicing what we know in India as vote bank politics, it only speaks for the situation that Canada has been put by Justin Trudeau's government. And both countries have good trade, sir. There are a lot of interesting exports and imports by both countries. Canada buys a lot of medicines from India. But at this rate, if it goes, definitely this is going to affect the trade between two countries. And also the fact thousands of students from India go and study in Canada, Canadian universities. And they pay fees. I mean, they bring a lot of revenue for Canadian universities. Some of them are private universities. I think a course of action which, if political reason, if they do that, I think they will realize, like Maldives has realized now. Maldives has reversed its, similarly Sri Lanka reversed its approach. So I would expect Justin Trudeau, maybe before the two elections are there, one more year to go. This brickmanship is going to only bring problems for Justin Trudeau at a personal level, as well as for his political party and for a country as a whole. Canada is also going to lose the goodwill of India.
Looks like there is some kind of a revolt in his own party against his leadership. Do you think it will lead him to resign from his prime ministership?
Sir, pressure is building up because he is not as a person they feel who can lead the Liberal Party to victory in the next elections. They are already realizing that opposition has gained ground, and some of the mounting economic issues, unemployment and lack of growth, sluggishness in manufacturing and trade, and China's big role in Canadian politics, sir. China has been playing a big role there. It has been said that China's role has helped Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party. So in order to divert attention from the focus on the Chinese role, because sir, the committee which is inquiring into this foreign interference in Canadian elections, it was initially focused on China, because after the allegations that came in American elections, that both Russia and China had a big role in influencing American elections, presidential elections. That is the time when this same debate started in Canada. That's why this commission was set up. And besides that, sir, I must also add, Canadian government had come with a report on the status of threat perception to Canada's security. That report had mentioned Khalistan extremism as one of the factors that could impinge on Canada's internal security. The moment the report came, 6 groups made a protest, and then subsequently another edition of the report removed that reference to Khalistan extremists because of vote banks politics.
Interesting, sir. So it has now turned into a domestic threat for them.
Yes, sir. I can see that, in a mature democracy like Canada, and they cannot bring these issues to influence their elections. And extremism, particularly Sikh extremism, has found refuge, haven, I would say, in Canada right from the 80s. Did we not see last year some extremist group bringing out tableau on Indira Gandhi and her killing, justifying her killing? That is the time when India protested to Canada not to allow such justification for killing of our Prime Minister. She may have been a Congress Prime Minister, but Modi's government protested. And here also you see, sir, within India, there is even people who are critics of Prime Minister Modi or Modi's foreign policy. They are very upset with Canada's behavior. Some of the retired diplomats who are not cheerleaders for Prime Minister Modi, who are rather very sometimes harsh critics of Prime Minister Modi, they have also said what Canada has done is wrong. How can you completely name of our 6 diplomats, because diplomats are never involved in this kind of thing. If assuming this whole thing is true, you are naming the diplomats, you are naming our High Commissioner Sanjay Verma. This has never been done before, because if you are making that means it shows poor understanding of the functioning of our foreign ministry, our whole system of what is the role of our diplomats. And no country uses its diplomats for this kind of operation. These are done at a different level. But the whole thing smacks of this double standards, sir. Every country has a right to defend itself. I'm not saying this has happened, what Canada is saying. But what I'm saying is, you will have to add, for whom are you risking so much of your relationship with India? For whom? For these individuals who will one day, who may be already violating your law, who may in the future pose even greater danger to you. And already the charge is, sir, these groups which are operating on Canadian soil, they are into extortion even in Canada. They are trying to get even people who have gone from Punjab to cough up some money, some protection money. This is a wake-up call for Canadian government and Canadian authorities.
Correct, sir. I think you're right. Yeah, it is a wake-up call. Hopefully they wake up and do something about it. So that brings us to the end of the show, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.